KRM Office 5521, July 4, 2021. Congratulations, Americans. We will have here kind of a control test. We could check and we will put things in our method. A lot of information here, and for sure, very relevant. Uh, of course, that if you have problems, and indeed we have, considering the corruption installed at public department will give me failures at departments. In each one of those failures, indeed, we have gaps as at the structure of the department, which will act maybe not according with the purpose and the statement at this department. And this combined in many departments, sometimes in a systematical way, give me the perception as something logical. This logical perception indeed is a property, which is a premise of a system. In the end, you have the criminal system. We can observe that this will be very clear at the financial system, and it will be evidenced by the distortion between debt and credit. Things won't be matched at the registry, and in the same way projected at the economy, a microeconomy. You will have this, and the wealth cycle will be not properly represented by the economical identity. You will need heterodox arguments to justify things that are not rational. And when you project this a bit more, you will have at your macroeconomy as structural failures in two big curves, like investment saving curves, liquidity money curve. We have this clear. Of course, that this indeed investment saving curve, logical gap, is a conjuncture of failure or the integration of many systems forming a conjuncture of criminality or a conjuncture to commit crimes. And this indeed is a trust scam. Is a trust scam because if you have the prevalence of this kind of activity in very specific areas, maybe you only will be hired by nepotism, or you only will have your free will properly applied according with criminal interest or subsidiary purpose. And this is a system of oppression. And then you will work and will do a lot of things and will receive nothing. Now we have the system of exploitation. Or you will do everything regular and okay, and by lawfare, intimidation and abuse, you will suffer a lot of things, have your legal property caught or lifted by an overtaxation scam, or by the coalition having the adjustment as rates at the market considering the inflation and return risk as interest, things like this. All this is kind of covered by this scam named the deep web. The deep web allows you to collect information in a not authorized way. It's a clandestine movement, and we complained this a dozen times before. If you have this structure, you will have a problem, and you must consider avoid this situation. The test as control test is quite simple because the Windows as operational system, especially the Windows 10, looks like that have some failures. And this failure, the first one, have the integration of a browser, which is the Microsoft Edge. And the Windows have optimizations kind of that you, even if you wouldn't like to have, you will have. And this is something that we must consider, have questions at this. And the Windows has a part inside which allows you to have two types as a configuration at your Wi-Fi or transference at the internet. One is named alternative. The Windows 10 looks like another failure, which is allows to have and set partitures inside your hard disk by remote access. And the remote access can be made by the Bluetooth. And sometimes even if you turn the Bluetooth down, you have this kind of remote access. But to discover if you have, maybe as a test, not my area, other users, you will have the gadgets that you have as instruments and configuration at the Windows, and then you have the keyboard, the mouse, and a lot of things. You can have the perception if you have one or more screens, and the type of screen. Some is linked as the screen of a computer, and others will be presented as not screen as something like this. It's maybe a cell phone. In the same way, if you do not have the same number of screens and keyboards, maybe you have keyboards integrated at the machine, which will be presented as a unique thing. And to confirm a bit more, you can do this. Turn down all users and system, and let only the user, the administrator, the system, the logged, invited, something like this. Let only the user and raise the privilege. Observe, set, increase the level of security, because the systematical behavior is not aleatory, and we are having another proof to do the charge as 33 trillion conditional flow. You will be charged. This causal relation will put you in jail. And you will observe if you have this. If you have this as any kind of thing modified, of course that it's a very strong inference that you had the not authorized access. But to confirm this, you do by your website or the Microsoft. They try to have the last update of the Windows 10, considering that sometimes the provider will have problems at the company, at corruption at the corporative area linked with the public department as FinTech scam. And then you change the configuration as your signal at the internet, at the IP, and set some fixed IP as manual configuration, and do try to have the optimization at the Windows. And observe if you have something like this, saying that because if you did this, the other user didn't have, if you change your IP. And observe if you will have maybe this situation here, as claim another user at your computer, which indeed it's not you, but it's only evidencing that maybe you have one or more using your computer by the remote access. The dismissing procedure and the destitute procedure, it's not an option, it's an obligation that you, Brazil, didn't have at the first division of the global environment, considering the behavior outlined as outlaw. And for sure, you are inside the Article 13 of your criminal law, Brazil, which for things presented at this way is very close to transnational organized crime at your law as transnational organized crime Article 1, Brazil. This failure systematically evidenced and proved, and with this huge notoriety, is another evidence against you, Brazil. It is on Article 74 of our Constitution. It's my Constitution too. And it's on Article 37, you violate the law as premise of all things at the public area. You are unable to have reasons by law because you are all outlaw. Any question, Brazil? You, at the top level, must present your reasons by law. At the American Embassy in Brazil, for instance, considering that we have a security forum Brazil USA, to explain how these failures could impact this security forum. I'm not a member of the institutional power, something like this. A regular citizen with a lot of problems, and now having this charge very well, you know, presented, which the causal relation, as I said, will put you on jail. You will suffer all seizure as possible, and you will suffer this compensation for sure. Have a nice week.